Denis Villeneuve, you French-Canadian son of a gun, this trailer looks absolutely gorgeous, and as a fan of Dune, I'm excited to dig into all the hidden details this new trailer has to offer. If you're new to my channel, I've covered everything from the 1984 Dune, the Children of Dune miniseries starring James McAvoy, and Villeneuve's Dune Part 1, which I'll leave links to in the description if you want to brush up. But for now, let's get right into the deep dive of Part 2, and be warned, there will be minor Dune spoilers. Our first shot is of Paul Atreides and Chani silhouetted against the dunes of Arrakis. His homeworld of Caladan, which we saw briefly in Part 1, is filled with waves of water, and Chani, who's never set foot off planet, can't imagine a world filled with something her world has so little of. Later on in the trailer, we'll see the two kiss atop the same dune, hinting at their romantic relationship. So when Paul says his first line, "It's breathtaking," it could also be a reference to Chani herself, one of those old romantic tropes. The next shot I absolutely love. Here we see Paul's mother, Lady Jessica Atreides, inside this sort of cocoon, and there's a lot to take in here. With Jessica having been taken in by Stilgar's Fremen at the end of Part 1, it's likely these are Fremen carrying her like royalty during a sandstorm. We'll see her adorned in a sort of crown with markings on her face and those iconic blue eyes, something she didn't have at the end of Part 1. Now in the book, this was the result of a ritual called the Water of Life. The Water of Life is a poisonous substance extracted from the sandworms of Arrakis and used to test a Reverend Mother's ability to withstand its effects and access ancestral memories of the Bene Gesserit sisterhood. We'll see a brief shot of this water later on. As a brief reminder, the Bene Gesserit is a powerful all-female organization whose main goal is to manipulate bloodlines in order to produce the Kwisatz Haderach, a being believed to be the key to unlocking the full potential of human evolution and guiding humanity to a new level of awareness. The Bene Gesserit prophecy states that the Kwisatz Haderach will come from a Bene Gesserit and male line of the Atreides family. So if we go back to this image, it looks as though Jessica has survived the Water of Life ritual and proven herself to the Fremen to have tremendous powers. I also just love whatever material is protecting this kind of shell here, almost as if it's the shed lining from a snake or other Arrakis creature. And now our first image of Princess Irulan, played by Florence Pugh. The princess here is the daughter of Emperor Shaddam IV, who we did not see in Part 1 nor in this trailer, but he's going to be played by Oscar-winning actor Christopher Walken. She talks into this voice recorder talking about the secrets of Dune. Irulan is a Bene Gesserit herself and would be interested in these secrets. After all, her father, the Emperor, forged a secret alliance with the Harkonnen to destroy House Atreides and maintain power and control over the planet, and thus the universe. Arrakis has the valuable resource known as spice, essential for space travel and creating profound effects on human consciousness. Whoever controls this spice wields incredible power. I love this shot of a Harkonnen soldier torching a mountain of Atreides corpses. I even enjoyed the added touch of a motor on the back of the helmet suggesting some sort of cooling or breathing mechanism. A portrait of Duke Leto Atreides burns in the fire, suggesting this is the Harkonnens clearing everything up from their victorious battle taking over the city of Arrakeen. Jessica, prior to her transformation, talks to Paul about how his father didn't believe in revenge. And revenge is ultimately what spurs Paul on his quest. He wants revenge on the Harkonnens and the Emperor for killing his father, even if it goes against what his father would have wanted. We get this mysterious shot of a silhouetted cloaked figure among a rocky foreground. We really don't know who this is, but considering the next shot is of the princess pondering what would happen if Paul were still alive, I place my bet on this being Paul. And near the end of the trailer, we also see a cloaked Paul atop a cliff. Now remember in Part 1, Glossu Rabban Harkonnen told his uncle the Baron Harkonnen that they had chased Paul and Jessica into a Coriolis storm with winds of up to 800 kilometers an hour. There's no way anyone could have survived. So the Harkonnen and Emperor believe Paul to be dead. We only get a brief glimpse of a tall figure beside the princess here, and I wonder if this could be Christopher Walken walking beside her. Oh god. And here we have Gurney Halleck, one of Paul's instructors who at the end of Part 1 became a fugitive on the run. He seems to be wearing the same House Atreides armor, but it's definitely a bit worse for wear. Bet on him linking up with Paul in their battle against the Harkonnen. Now this I absolutely love. It's our first shot of Elvis as Fade Rautha Harkonnen. That's Austin Butler, of course, and it looks as though he's ready for some sort of gladiatorial battle, and you can make out two daggers silhouetted on the ground. Remember that Robin was in charge of rooting out Paul, so it's entirely possible that the Baron finds out Paul is still alive, punishes Rabin here, and calls for the even more ruthless Feyd-Rautha to come to Arrakis and finish the job. Here we have Chani and Paul dodging some gunfire before we get our first look at Lady Margot, played by Léa Seydoux. Lady Margot was once a resident of Arrakis, having been married to Hasimir Fenring, the interim governor of the planet during the transition of power between Harkonnen and Atreides. She is a Bene Gesserit and acts as a sort of spy who tried to warn Lady Jessica of the Harkonnen plot to kill Duke Atreides. We'll see her later on in black and white, suggesting this is either a flashback and or the color scheme Villeneuve has chosen to go with when events take place on the Harkonnen homeworld of Giedi Prime. This seems to be some sort of passcode to get into this chamber, with the imagery reminding me a lot of that pain box Paul had to endure in part 1. Here, Paul takes on 2 Harkonnen soldiers, which is contrasted with more footage of Feyd-Rautha's arena battle. We'll see this battle with daggers, foreshadowing Feyd's dagger fight with Paul at the end of the trailer. It's implied here that Lady Margot watches this battle from the stand, suggesting the two have some sort of history. This shot, notice that it's in color, suggests Feyd links up with Margot on Arrakis. It almost looks as if he's going in for a kiss, but my guess is that he's trying to figure out if Margot is a traitor. This shot of Lady Jessica with blue eyes feels as though this is the first time we see her after she survived the ritual of water. The largest portion of the trailer focuses on Paul's first worm ride, where he puts down a thumper to attract the beast and successfully mount it. This is extremely important for Paul as it earns him the respect of his Fremen allies, and worms will be vital in the overthrow of the ruling powers. Stilgar essentially tells him not to show off, but in true Paul fashion he crushes this task, uses these hooks to gain control as the Fremen cheer him on. But I love the look of disbelief on Stilgar's face, almost as if he's coming to the realization that Paul is the Kwisatz Haderach, the one that will lead the Fremen to victory against their oppressors. Here are a bunch of ornithopters we saw from part 1, but just where exactly they're headed or who's controlling them, we can't be sure. We can't really make out who's behind this costume here. It could be Lady Jessica and some Bene Gesserit and Fremen behind her, or it could be someone involved in the Water of Life ritual. This woman is surrounded by Harkonnen soldiers. Judging from the credits, this appears to be actress Suhaila Yacoub, who plays Shishakli, a Fremen leader. Now these birds are interesting and might be an example of distrans animals used by the Fremen to send covert communications. So them being dead makes sense, as the Harkonnen would want to kill them before they went off. Now if you're looking to fight off werewolves, here's Princess Irulan covered in this silver headdress, which almost looks like armor. A brief shot of Arrakis' sun, Canopus, silhouetted by its 2 orbiting moons. Here's Chani going up a sand dune, which may be the same dune she'll end up on with Paul. Jessica tells Paul that he gave the Fremen something to hope for, which is likely a reference to him being the prophesized Kwisatz Haderach, something the Fremen can get behind and give them hope, and Paul doesn't seem to take this too well. However, the final shots show him holding up his crysknife, a dagger made from the tooth of a sandworm, and leading the Fremen before battle. So it would appear Paul has embraced this prophecy and will lead his people to victory, which of course leads him to a one-on-one battle with Feyd-Rautha, and you can take a guess who ends up victorious. He says the line, "May thy knife chip and shatter," which is an actual line spoken by Jamis in the books and film.
May thy knife chip and shatter.
I'm extremely stoked for part 2. It looks like it's going to be even more action-packed and filled with the insane visuals and soundtrack we saw in part 1. But now I want to hear from you. What are your thoughts and theories for part 2? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching, make sure to like and subscribe. I'll be coming out with even more Dune videos. And for more bad takes, you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at ThinkStoryYT. Until next time, remember,
fear's the white